All right, that's the Brewster bump going on right there, and we are going to use that Brewster bump to bump us right up into our interview this morning, and I'm going to just call it a chat because this is someone that I met in Boston, and sometimes you meet someone and you just I was immediately drawn to her talent, but then I got to meet the artist behind all these incredible works of art, and I thought, oh, you are just someone that I would love to hang out with. You are super cool. As I said this morning on Facebook, I said she's cooler than the flip side of the pillow, and she certainly is. And I'm hoping that I've pressed the right buttons. Miss Debbie, are you there?
I am here, and by the way, I love the line, cooler than the flip side of a pillow. That is so cool.
Well, you have my permission to steal it because I know I stole it from someone else. I'm just spreading the joy. But it is really true and very appropriate as it's reaching, like the 90s around here now, which I'm not complaining about because it's finally nice out. Miss Debbie, I want to first of all let our listeners know that they can go to dkrim.com. You also that's your website, and you also have a wonderful Facebook presence because as we're speaking today, I know people are going to be like, oh, wait, I want to know more. How do I spell it? How can I find her? And let me just, so we'll get that out. And I just want to give a tiny bit of background. I was lucky enough to find myself in SOWA, S-O-W-A, in Boston, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, and I got to explore all over this wonderful market that goes on. Hundreds of artists, over 60 galleries, boutiques. There's the food trucks that are out there. I was by myself and just having a ball. And I've gone back a few times, and recently I went back, and it was a day that was really yucky out. So I think the outdoor stuff was canceled, and I got to spend a little more time inside. And forgive me, I know I really wish I could remember the name of the wonderful gentleman you had working with you there.
That's Lang. Oh, my God, I love Lang.
Oh, is
he fabulous or what?
He is so fabulous. And, sometimes, when you're exploring art and you're a little trepidatious, you don't want someone jumping on you. And he was just so welcoming and engaging. And I think he's a wonderful extension of what you do. And, again, let me just set the stage and I'll let you go with this. So we stopped in and first it was the photography. There's a gallery. You walk up in what looks like a factory kind of thing, and there's artists in there. And the first room I got to was photography. And, we're talking large-scale pieces, but also small-scale pieces. I'm going to ask you about these little blocks of photos that people are making designs with. And I was so intrigued. And then we went into the other room, and these wonderful large-scale photographs of some of the flowers. And then we go across the hall. And, well, there's no way you're keeping me out of the area that had jewelry in it. And, there really should be a new word invented because there's jewelry and then there's wearable art. And that truly is what I felt like you had. And then as if that wasn't enough, there's another room where, and I believe there were paintings of some of your, I don't know if you'd call it pop art, but there were certainly subjects that brought back memories of my childhood. So I just want to listeners set you up and let you know how I stumbled into meeting this great gal. And why I felt so strongly about bringing her on air with me, because I really want to share this, especially with the warm weather and the summer ahead. There's some wonderful opportunities to experience some incredible art. And if you've not stepped out of your comfort zone of maybe Connecticut, get yourself in your car, get on a train, get on a bus, and get down there and check it out. And I'm going to let Debbie now talk a little bit about why you should exactly do that. Debbie, let's start with let's go back a little bit. Let's start with what was your first initiation into art and taking off in all these different tangents? Have you been an artist since as long as you can remember?
Yeah, I would imagine that somewhere probably near 60 years ago, inside of my mother, I was probably rearranging how her intestines should look. I don't know. I just remember, as far back as I can remember, I have two sisters, and we would be sitting on the floor in my parents' room watching Bozo the Clown on TV, and I was always working on something, whether it was, making, hand-making little stuffed animals or whatever it was, drawing characters, or there was always something that I was doing because that's what was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So as far back as I can remember, that was my little comfort zone, was just making stuff. I love making things.
And you grew, you were born in Rhode Island, so you're kind of almost a local gal. We're only about 15 minutes from Rhode Island.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, exactly. So, yep, I'm almost a local gal. You're in New London, is that
Yes,
correct?
yes. And did you studied at RISD?
In the summers of my high school years, I went to RISD.
Okay.
Because it was a local art place to be.
Mm-hmm,
So, and then this is kind of an interesting story, and one of the stories of my life that really motivates me, because when I was in high school, my two best friends were artists, and they were far better than I was on an objective scale. Mm-hmm. I mean, this isn't just somebody saying, oh, poor me. This is just, honestly, they were better than me. Mm-hmm. And so I think I thought that the world of artists were those two friends, Anne Chansey and Anne Yakabuchi. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking I wouldn't get into RISD, and I hated rejection, as so many of us do.
Oh, who does? Yeah.
So I didn't even apply to RISD for fear of rejection. And for years I told everybody, including myself, that I didn't apply to RISD because I wanted to get out of Rhode Island. And it wasn't until years later that, I was repeating that line and saying, that is such BS.
Yeah,
that is so not true. I didn't apply to RISD because I was chicken.
Yeah.
And I did I guaranteed myself the one thing I feared most, which was rejection. I rejected myself before the school even had a chance to reject me.
It's such a lesson there. I mean, so often we it's getting out of our own way, isn't it?
It is. Mm-hmm. And that was such a lesson to life, to say, if you fear something so much that it stops you from doing it, mm-hmm. you guarantee the thing you fear. You guarantee your lack of success. So I've kind of used that in my life. When things come up and I get that pit in my stomach and I say, I'm so afraid of getting rejected, I say, and so what? Exactly. Move on. Get rejected. Go out there.
That is
be your fear.
Absolutely. I love that life lesson, and it's especially endearing to hear it from someone that has excelled and really gone so far beyond. I mean, listeners, again, I invite you to check out dkrim.com, because when you find out the honors that have been bestowed on this gal, and when you see, the work she is capable of, you're really going to be surprised that she's speaking like this. And again, it's not just in one medium. It's really sincere, and it is absolutely the facts, ma'am. When you look around at your oil paintings, and one in particular, and I'm very curious about who exactly, what is his name? I'm going to find it right now. Of course I was attracted to the jewelry, but then when I saw some of these paintings, and one in particular of a portrait of Ernesto.
Oh, he is so good looking.
Oh my, yeah, he is.
So Ernesto, and I do have a story about Ernesto.
Tell.
Okay, so Ernesto is a phenomenal model, and he's modeled for art schools and ateliers. So any kind of painting instructor in the Boston area, and I don't know how widespread it is, whether he gets to Connecticut at all, but we've all painted and drawn Ernesto because he's just out and about, and he's really good looking, very easy on the eyes. So I had painted him, I think 2 or 3, actually probably 3 or 4 times in studying with 2 different painters. Mm-hmm. And I would always tease him about how good looking he is.
Yeah. And
then at Mass Art about 2 years ago, I was studying with Catherine Kehoe, a phenomenal painter. And we were I knew Ernesto was going to be the model, but what I didn't know was that it was going to be the full figure. And now I've painted nudes and I've drawn nudes before, and it's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
That, as an artist, you don't think twice about it.
Yeah.
Except if it's Ernesto.
I love it, Debbie.
It was like, Okay, I can do this.
Oh, Debbie, that's great. I got to tell you, as a writer, I walk around and I think a lot of, most writers do this, that, you see people and you're immediately spinning a story. Oh, I already have a lot of stories about Ernesto. So he's the gift that keeps on giving. I got to tell you.
He's adorable. He's got a great personality. And it's difficult actually being a really good model for artists to paint because you need to stay in a position for such a long time. And that's not easy to do.
No, and
Ernesto is a master at that.
And to that point, I have to say I've done that before for classes, and I smile a lot, and it's very difficult for me not to smile. It's just natural what I do. But they said, "Well, you sure you want to do that?" After 3 hours of smiling, I look like an escaped mental patient, and I could not get, even though they give you breaks, it's really difficult. And then you really want to do your best because everyone's really counting on you to stay in the light and everything else. So kudos to Ernesto and kudos to you. Now I'm looking at him on the one of the brochures I picked up, but I'm guessing that if they go to your website, dkrim.com, they can see him, and also on Facebook, dkrim.art, and also just by putting in Debby Krim, and I'll spell that. Debby is Debby Krim, and you can check out her online on Facebook. Not only her photography, painting, fine arts, and jewelry. I'd like to ask a little bit about your jewelry, if I may. Can I go there now?
Please go where you want. I love following you.
I've got so much. I'm literally like, squirrel. The jewelry, as I said, it really feels like wearable art. And there's one picture that you have up, and there were necklaces. And I was curious about something in particular, the movement in a lot of your pieces. They have bars and things slide. They're like nothing else. They're one of a kind. But I also saw one that had 3 little pieces coming off of it that to me reminded me of prayer wheels. Am I off on that, or is that kind of, do you remember doing anything like that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know the piece, and I'm really embarrassed to say, I don't even know what a prayer wheel is, so I'll have to look it up.
Oh, well, this is funny. When I saw Debbie, we were looking at her stuff, and I looked at a couple pieces, and I said, oh, this looks like a constellation to me. And she looked at me and she said, what a great idea. Because the way the things put together. So again, this is another exact, it's kind of like music. You make something, someone writes a song, and then they put it out in the world, and then that is for the world to interpret. It doesn't always end up being what you put out there, your interpretation, but I think that, again, is kind of the beauty of it. You give it out there to the world, and then it's up to the person that wears it or the person that listens to it to make their own story about it and incorporate it into their lives. So I'll get back to you after on air about the prayer wheels piece, because if it's still around, I want it.
Oh, that's so funny. I think it's a slider. If it's what I'm thinking of, the piece actually, you can slide it up and down the chain depending on, I mean, quite frankly, I play with it. It's kind of like maybe in the religious way, in like worry beads or something.
Yeah, it's soothing.
You have something that can absorb your nervous energy. So for me, I just play with it. But it's also good just based on what you're wearing. If you have a lower cut sweater on or shirt and you want to wear it lower, you can, or higher, depending on what you're wearing. So it's kind of fun.
Debbie, now I noticed that you work a lot in silver. Is that something that you stick with? I don't remember seeing a lot of gold pieces. Is that accurate? And if it is there some reason you're drawn to the silver as opposed to other metals?
There's a couple of things. I do mostly work in silver. The piece that I think you're talking about actually is 14 karat gold. The beads in the middle are 14 karat gold. But I work 95%, and I'm making up that number, but it sounds about right, in sterling. The reason being that it's something I can handle. I think part of it is lack of knowledge. For like gold, I'm a little bit afraid to work in gold. Oh, there goes that fear again. That means I have to work in gold. I think gold, it's very expensive, and I love playing around. And when I'm creating pieces in jewelry, I make tons of errors and can end up with a little pile of sterling silver that I've melted. And that's not that much of a problem because either I can turn it into something or we're not talking about a lot of money. But when you make a mistake in gold, you've made a very expensive mistake. It's still worth the weight in gold, but gold is just such an expensive way to go that I feel like I need a lot more years under my belt of being a better technician to really delve into gold. And then metals, non-precious metals like copper and brass and so forth. I've just never worked. I've worked a little bit in copper. Copper is similar to silver and how it handles, but I've never worked in brass. So it's just lack of knowledge, really.
You know, I want to start asking about the SOA neighborhood events because I've got a listing here, and they are so much fun. But before I do that, I'm wondering, you know, I often ask musicians about inspiration and where they find it, and it's all different places. Is there anywhere in particular that is your go-to for inspiration, or it's just a way of life? You've always got those antennas out looking or, you know, receiving.
You know, I get asked, that's probably one of the main things that I get asked in the studio is my inspiration. And I think a lot of course, in the different areas, it's different. So in photography, one of my main inspirations, probably everybody's inspiration in life anyway, is nature itself. Nature just it's so far-reaching. Whether you're honing in on the smallest details of a white flower or whether you're looking at a phenomenal landscape, nature is just, I think it's just everybody's inspiration. You can't help it. But I think when it comes to jewelry, I think just play. So I don't think I can claim a specific inspiration, but just play being my motto. Just go in there and play. Sometimes I'll sketch things out on paper. Lang has come up with some really great ideas. In fact, the slider, a lot of that came from a conversation with Lang, and he's the seeds of that inspiration. So kudos to Lang for that.
Yeah, he is definitely.
So, you know, just I think life in general and just that desire to try to come up with something new that hasn't been done before. That's a goal. So I'm hoping I'm answering your question.
Oh, Debbie, you're doing fabulous, and I'm so appreciative of your time. I got a couple more. Do you have time for me? I don't want to. I would love
Total
to.
Time.
Terrific.
Whatever. I'm yours, babe.
Oh, how lucky am I? I'm telling you, I'm the luckiest girl in the world on Tuesdays from 9 to 12. The rest of the time it's debatable.
I feel very
but
lucky this morning. You are so much fun, and I want you to come back in because I want to spend time with you. You are so fun.
Oh, you too, and I will definitely be there, and I'm going to definitely next time bring a gaggle of groovy gals with me, and we are just going to have a ball. And one of the things that was going to draw us in, and I want to let everybody know, is SOWA, is SOWA, and they are really, I don't know, I want to ask you how long they've been doing it, but I also want to let everyone know another website they can go to is www.sowaboston, SOWA, and that'll help you find out where it is. It'll give you an idea of all the different events going on and kind of really maybe paint a picture for you if it's kind of difficult from just what I'm saying, but like I said, the first time I went, I mean, between the vintage market and then the outdoor market and then the art market and everything in between and then the artists that opened their studios, it was really incredible. And people I found were so welcoming, super easy to get to. I came from Connecticut, and it's people that maybe think Boston, they keep thinking, that Big Dig scared them away, and, it's difficult to get in. This could not be easier. You just get on, you get off the exit, great parking. And there's just so much to do. So
there's the farmers market. I don't know. There's a beer garden. It's just, the whole thing is amazing. Food truck bazaar. That's crazy amazing. Although I never get down there because I'm in my studio. And it's Saturdays and Sundays this year. It's been Sundays for probably as much as 15 years, and this year's the first year that they've added Saturdays. So it's a full weekend of art and activities. There's also live music. I know a lot of your listeners love music.
Yeah.
I've listened to some of your previous shows, and you are quite the babe. I mean, really, it's incredible.
You're hired. You're
so
my new best friend.
You're great. You're absolutely fabulous. And so, there is live music also. I don't know if it's every weekend because I'm inside. I'm not outside.
Yeah, that's got to be difficult to hear it out the window and to know what's going on out there.
I want to be out there. But I love being in my studio, so I don't mind. But yeah, there's so much going on down there. It's a feast for the senses. And
it goes on. I want to, again, SOWABoston.com. I have a few dates on here. They do first Fridays.
The first Friday of every month is actually a combination. I'm butting in here. But
no,
it's
please.
A combination of, most of the artists in the SOA Artists Guild open the first Friday of every month, the first Fridays. So that's about 80 of us, even up to 100, let's say. There's 80 artists in the Guild. And can I give that website as well?
Please do. Please do.
Okay. So that's SOA Artists, plural, SOWAARTISTS.com. And that there's about 80 artists in the Guild, and we open our studios from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. the first Friday of every single month throughout the year. So even in those winter months when you are thinking, I need to get out, and it's the first Friday, come up and visit us. I would say come down, but you're coming up.
Coming up, yeah.
And how long of a drive is it from New London?
Oh, it's not bad. Well, from New London, it's a little longer because they're down near the beach. But, from anywhere in Connecticut, you can get there within 2 hours. 2 hours or so at the very most.
Yeah, because Rhode Island's such a small state. You're only an hour through Rhode Island.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, actually, it is closer, actually, going that way. You're right. Yeah, it's even closer. It's less than 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, I would think I would think about an hour and a half maybe. So it's not far, and it's worth the visit. It's just so fabulous.
And they would go to SOAArtist.com.
SOA Artists, and I believe it's plural. I'm going to actually, sometimes my brain freezes on details I should know.
Oh, you and me both, my friend.
That's right. SOA Artists, SOWA, it's just 2 A's, SOWAARTISTS.com. So that's the SOA Artists Guild, and you can also preview a lot of the artists on that website. So that's kind of fun.
It is because
I actually did that website. I created that website, so it's.
Do you ever sleep, Debbie? Do you ever sleep?
I love sleep, but I would be very happy if the human body only required 4 hours. But my body loves 7 to 8 hours. So I have to give that up every single day.
Yeah.
It's a killer.
Well, we are just glad that, however you're doing it. And there are so many reasons to come up and visit. As you mentioned, the SOA Arts Market. I want to ask about that. Again, Saturday and Sundays. It started April 29th and it runs to October 29th. Starts around 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, the Arts Market, is that the outside one with all the different, tents set up and the different artists from all over? Okay,
that's that.
So my question about that is, in shopping around there, I was getting business cards and asking where everyone came from. Not everybody was from Massachusetts. I'm wondering, there's so many artists in this community that, hopefully are listening, or maybe there's someone that thinks this is a great idea. I'd love to get involved. Is this exclusive to residents of Boston or Massachusetts?
No.
Or can other people get involved?
Absolutely not.
And how would they do that?
Anybody can get involved. If you want to get involved in the outdoor market, I would go to SOABoston.com. I think there's actually an application for artists. Now, I believe the Sunday markets I think that they're sold out for vendors through the year, but I don't know that for a fact. So it would be worth, if you are an artisan or an artist, it would be worth going and checking it out and seeing if that's
absolutely.
Something that feels right.
And kudos to whoever is curating this market. It is impeccably curated.
Brad, shout out to Brad and Aida. They are the dynamic duo that are responsible for running the market, and they do a fabulous job.
They're not down in the basement there in the vintage one, are they? Are they downstairs in the?
No, that's Stephanie and John. Stephanie and John run the vintage market, and they do a fabulous job with that. I mean, that's the thing is that everybody's got their own little piece of the pie, and then there's the galleries and the shops, boutiques down there. I mean, there's so many different things in one little brick walkway.
Yeah, and let's make sure. See, this is why we're so good together. We're talking over each other. We got so much to share. Let's make sure we remind everybody too that there's no admission fee to this.
Right. It's free and open to the public, and you can actually come to the area 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. So because there will always be people down there, the weekends are hopping and a time to really see a lot. If you come in during the week, Mondays are slow. A lot of galleries don't open, and Tuesdays are also a little bit slow. Mm-hmm. But Wednesday through Friday, I think, are their better days to show up if you're coming during the week. And you can always come into the building at 450 Harrison Ave where the artists are, and that's catch as catch can. Mm-hmm. So you may come in, and there may be 20 of us in there working, or you could come in on a day and nobody's there, which would be a bummer, but it happens. A lot of times I'm in there and I'm the only one there, or there's times that I'm in there and there's just a large group of us in there. Mm-hmm. So it during the week, it's a little bit of catch as catch can, but if you're there Wednesday through Friday, you'll certainly get most of the shops and the galleries, really cool shops. There's Ash and Rose, which sells clothing and jewelry. There's great galleries, Lanou Gallery. I mean, it's amazing.
And still, you're in Boston. You're in Boston, so you can't complain about it. There's, I'm also, as you're speaking,
and cheap parking too.
Yeah,
very reasonable parking.
Really reasonable parking. I know they have that one lot on one side. It's a giant lot. It was not expensive at all. Sometimes I've parked on the street, and as you're describing that, I'm thinking about the dads and the moms out there that perhaps are thinking, okay, summer is here in a few days, and what am I going to do with the kids? It's a wonderful day trip that can really expose your kids to something that might spark a passion, and it's one of those things that also you can enjoy doing with them. You don't have to feel like, oh God, I take my kid to Comic-Con. I love to see how he enjoys it. It's terrific. It is not my cup of tea, but I'm happy to do it for him. But this is one of those things that everybody's happy about. Again, there's so much going on, whether you get into the vintage market, the SOA arts market, the farmers market, the food bazaar, the food truck bazaar, just so many great things. And I feel so blessed that we cross paths. And listeners, this is just one artist I was lucky enough to meet and bring on here. And I do hope that you will check out the websites we gave you. I'm going to repeat throughout the show, DKRIM.com for Debbie herself to check out all of her different mediums and what she's got going on. Also, SOWA Artists, that's 2 A's in the middle there, SOWAARTISTS plural.com. That's for the Artists Guild. And I definitely want to do a shout out for Brad and Aida. I mean, they've really created something very special there that I know a lot of towns are, trying to model after. And I just feel really blessed that it's not too far away. So thank you so much. I'm actually going to have to go get some tea. I can feel this cough coming on. Hang on.
Oh, no, feel better.
Yeah, it's just, I think, allergies. So is there something else you wanted to mention, Debbie?
You are amazing, Alison. This was a blast, and you were right that it would just be like a really fun conversation. This is fabulous. I'm
so glad. Well, now that we've met, I'm hard to shake, Debbie, so I will see you soon. Don't hang up, though.
To hear that.
Don't hang up. Yeah, don't hang up, because I want to thank you proper off air while I get a cup of tea. Listeners, you've been listening to an interview. We've been chatting it up with Debby Krim. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, am I?
Perfect.
Terrific. And she is now hired as my lead cheerleader from now on. I'm very appreciative of that. I'll be back in just a little.
I need pom-poms.
Oh, I've got that. You know what? We'll hang up. You'll have them created in 10 minutes, knowing you.